New bike day! And to be perfectly honest with you, for the last 3 years since Ventum launched, thing that got me intrigued about Ventum. Morning, Trainiacs. Oh yeah! New bike day! So over the course of this year, I've been wanting a new bike. I had an old Cervelo P3. I've ridden Cervelo for, I think, 6 years. It's been Cervelo P3, a Cervelo S3. This year was a Cervelo P2. I liked Cervelo. Then I went to Kona. I walk over to the Ventum booth because I said hi to the guys while at Interbike, and they said, hey, we got lots of bikes. Go take a bike. You'll like it. And to be perfectly honest with you, for the last 3 years since Ventum launched, I was like, I really don't like the look of that bike. But I took this bike out onto the Queen K Highway in Kona, and I fell in love with it. And I'm gonna explain why. But right now, we got a new Ventum bike. Hashtag not an ad, but I did get the bike for free. And you too can get a free bike. All you have to do is 400 YouTube videos for free on your own dime over the course of a couple of years, get a whole bunch of YouTube followers and Facebook, and launch a podcast and sell your investment practice and turn your entire life upside down. And then you can get a free bike. So we have a random black, nice gold lettering in this box. It sounds like parts and tools. It is parts and tools, all foam package. Arm pads. That aside for now, and get to the goods, shall we? Another black box. This here is the water bottle that goes into the frame of the Ventum frame, and it's actually more aerodynamic, carrying, I want to say, 1.5 liters of liquid on the bike while actually making the bike more aerodynamic. I believe this is a fairing for the front fork. This is what covers up the brakes, I believe. Another fairing, maybe a spare fairing, who knows? You can't have too many fairings. They said, do you like fairings? And I'm like, you know what? Throw an extra fairing in there, Ventum. Everything is just deliciously wrapped in foam. Aero bars. Mounts for the elbow pads. Seat post, just murdered out black. We've got a little strip of tape in it so that I don't have to put carbon paste in the middle. A shirt, a slick lid. I'm gonna look cooler just with this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Who's ready? Pete, it's new bike day. Pete's favorite day is new bike day. That's it, Trainiacs. That is a Ventum bike. So now let me tell you 2 really big reasons why I became a fan of Ventum at Kona. The first one has nothing to do with how tight they like their shirts. Apparently they like their shirts tight. So the biggest change with the Ventum bike here, now that I've just kind of loosely put it together, is that there's no down tube and there's no seat stays. Now, when I went out onto the Queen K Highway, it was very similar to what it's like here in Winnipeg. We're in the prairies, so wind just absolutely slams bikes around. And as I was chatting with Ventum at the start, what they said was that the lack of a down tube here reduces that little bit of turbulence that happens from the wheel just moving tiny little bits side to side. And that tiny little bit side to side creates whipping around that hits the back edge of that wheel, slams back into the bike, and kind of creates that little bit of a shake in the bike. But because there's no down tube here, that wheel can do whatever it wants, and it's not going to create more chatter in the bike. And then what they also said at Ventum was that anything that happens from your knees back doesn't really make a big difference in the aerodynamics of a bike with a person on it. A bike in the wind tunnel, sure, can have a lot of aerodynamics back here, but all of a sudden when you put a person on the bike, the knees are creating so much turbulence in that bike that everything that happens from here back doesn't really matter. So all the aerodynamics that they wanted to create in the Ventum bike was from here forward, and they did that by removing the down tube. And how they made the bike not sloppy, because I thought it would move side to side, is that this bottom bracket here is huge. Like, it's the size of my entire hand, if not bigger. That right there, we're talking like almost an entire foot deep. And then the bottle that carries as much as 2 water bottles is completely integrated into the bike. Like, it's basically part of the frame. Now, the second thing that got me intrigued about Ventum while I was at Kona was a chat that I had with Patrick McCran, who is the head coach of the Endurance Nation triathlon team. And he said that he had just switched over from another bike brand that I don't want to mention because they still have a soft spot in my heart, to a Ventum One. I was like, how is that? Is it sloppy? And he went, no. He actually started picking up Strava sections and moving up the leaderboard in Strava sections that he had not made a real dent in for years. And he said that most of those Strava sections were actually on uphills where he was putting a lot of power and torsional movement into the bike. And he went, it's just a stiff bike and you don't feel as beat up after because the wind doesn't knock you around. A couple days later, I went and took that test ride that I talked about, and I went, yeah, I'm not as beat up. I wasn't even getting that, you know, when a semi-truck comes and goes by you and your bike goes, and you kind of brace because you know it's happening, because it's happened hundreds of times before. As it was happening in Kona, the semi would come, I'd stiffen up, and nothing would happen. Okay, so thank you, Jimmy, Dia, Chris, Rachel, Neville, everyone at Ventum. Thank you so much. I am so jacked up to be riding this next year. I'm gonna have to slim down a little bit. Thinner, you people in Miami, holy smokes. We're gonna be building up this bike in the next little while. Comments below for what your guess is with what the wheels are that I'm gonna be using and what the group set is that I'm gonna be using. This is gonna be a slick bike. This is gonna be a very, very hot bike.